With OTAs just around the corner on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, we are going to take a look at what we are projecting to be the starting lineup for your Seattle Seahawks when they take the field week one against the San Francisco 49ers. Tyler Jones, your fearless leader, here with you. Thanks for joining us. Before we get any further in today's program, Tom Downey, you guys know, he's a Chat Sports OG around here. He was talking some smack on the 12s, and he was trying to tell me that he doesn't think that we can get 1,000 comments on today's video. And I'm like, Tom, Cowgirls Report. What are we doing taking strays here from y'all? You haven't done a damn thing, not a damn thing in the playoffs over the years. Why are you coming after us? So stick it to the Cowgirls and spam S in the comments. I want at least 1,000 S's. If we do that, then whoever spams it the most, you're going to get a shout-out on a future edition of Seahawks Today. Spam S, we'll get started with today's show. So here's the exercise that I'm doing here, folks, just to kind of give you an inside baseball on this. What we're going to do is we're going to go position by position of who the 11 starters would be on offense, defense, and then we'll go over the special team starters as well, of who I think is most likely with different scenarios, whether it be position battles or potentially getting moved, to end up being that starter when the season begins for the Seahawks. So let's get started. Big surprise here. Your starting quarterback will be Sam Darnold, who I got to tell you, I'm very excited to have him a part of the fold here in 2025. I think he's an upgrade from Geno Smith. He's younger, he's better, and he is a natural fit for what Clint Kubiak wants to do with this offense. They have a previous relationship working together. Sam Darnold, I think, is going to do a very good job. Now here's your first surprise. Zach Charbonnet. And here's why we're going with Charbonnet over Kenneth Walker. There have been a lot of rumblings over the last few weeks that Seattle is likely to move on from one of their running backs. Charbonnet has 2 more years left in his rookie contract. Kenneth Walker only has 1. Charbonnet did really good last year in the games that he started filling in for Kenneth Walker. I think that if they're going to move a running back, it's much more likely to be Kenneth Walker. And even if Kenneth Walker is still here, Zach Charbonnet is going to play a big role in this rushing attack. I'll go with Charbonnet to most likely be that RB1 when the season begins. Another potential surprise for you, not Brady Russell at the fullback spot as this position returns to the Seahawks lineup. No, we're going with the rookie, Robbie Ouzts out of Alabama, who the Seahawks drafted in day 3, a tight end. They're converting to the fullback spot. They feel pretty high on him. I love the mustache as a guy that can't grow much facial hair. Nothing but respect for that. But with that said, it just comes down to the dollars and cents. The contract situation, Zach, I think, is more likely to be here than K9. Ideally, in my humble opinion, I would like to have them both be here and find a way to keep them around and run them both into the ground. But I would guess that Zach has a more likely chance of being here at this point. If you had to pick a running back of who you believe will be RB1 when the season begins, who do you think it is? Kenneth Walker III or Zach Charbonnet? Type K9 for Kenneth Walker III. Type ZC for Zach Charbonnet. Weigh in the comments section. Let us know in our pinned comment today and tell me what you think. Today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. Choose 2 or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points in football, rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey, all sorts of different categories to choose from. Cash in on the basketball playoffs with PrizePicks. Don't miss your last chance to add your favorite players from the court to your PrizePicks lineup, whether it's points, rebounds, assists. Take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. Turn your playoff hot takes into tickets to basketball's championship series. Starting with the play-in round, every lineup you make on PrizePicks will enter you in the Takes 2 ticket sweepstakes, which could get you and a +1, a VIP trip to the ship. PrizePicks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. Download the app today and use code SAILATS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code SAILATS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. I'm looking ahead to the start of the football season. I got our guy Sam Darnold to have more than 3,474.5 passing yards. Also going with Patrick Mahomes to have more than 3,924.5 passing yards. If I put $20 down, both those hit, that turns into $60 on PrizePicks. Play along with me, PrizePicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, run your game. Cooper Kupp as a starting receiver, certainly excited about him joining this Seahawks team. I think that the main thing is going to be trying to keep him healthy. That's something that he struggled with the last couple of seasons, but if he's healthy, he'll be an impact player. Jaxon Smith-Njigba also back after a strong 2024. He'll take on a larger role with this offense, not having to share space with DK Metcalf. I think that JSN is going to have an even better year than what he did last year. And here's another surprise. There's a lot of rumblings about Seattle potentially moving on from Noah Fant, whether that is releasing him or trading him. And even if he stays, I think Elijah Arroyo is going to emerge. I think he's got a high ceiling that he could potentially be a star tight end. I think he's already a better pass catcher than Noah Fant is. Watch out. When the season begins, Elijah Arroyo, I think, is going to be your tight end one for Seattle. Let's wrap up the offense with the O-line. Charles Cross coming in off of a very, very good 2024 campaign where he was one of the best offensive tackles in football. He'll hold things down to the left tackle spot. Gray Zabel, the first-round pick out of North Dakota State. He replaces Laken Tomlinson at the left guard position, and I think that Zabel is going to come in right away and look really good from the jump. Olu is back at the center spot. There was some rumblings. People wanted him replaced, but I thought he did a good job in the second half of 2024. Hopefully he continues to improve. And then at the right guard spot, we will go with Anthony Bradford, the third-year player out of LSU. Bradford, I think we've seen some good. We've seen some bad with Anthony Bradford. I think that Anthony Bradford, with a new coaching staff in mind, he should take some steps forward and do a really good job. And I just don't believe that between Bradford, Haynes, and Lumea, that one of those guys isn't going to emerge and do a good job. I think Bradford's probably the most likely at this point. And then the right tackle position will go Abraham Lucas. He was injured much of last year, but when he came back, big difference. The offensive line, hopefully he can stay healthy. I think this group is much improved. This offensive line is compared to what it was a season ago. And Abe, he needs to stay healthy. Olu's got to continue to improve. Charles Cross has got to continue to step forward. I think it's just building upon what a lot of these guys have started and taking steps in the right direction. That's going to be the big key there. Now, what is your confidence level of the Seahawks offensive line? If you had to scale it for me, what would it be? 1 through 10, weigh in, let us know. How do you feel about this group? Tell me what you guys think. Seahawks Today is bringing you nonstop Seahawks coverage, sometimes 2 and 3 videos a day. We got live shows 3 days a week now, folks, more than we've ever had before. Remember back in the day, 3 years ago, we didn't even do any live shows. Now we're doing it 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We have our news and rumors. We're doing Madden Sims, breaking news, Q-Day mailbags. This is all right here on Seahawks Today, your one-stop shop for all things Seattle Seahawks. If you love the Hawks, this is the channel for you. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. Let's get at least 20 subs off today's video. Subscribe now. You'll be glad you did. Let's go to the defense. Leonard Williams is back for his second and a half season with the Hawks after he was traded for at the trade deadline a few years ago. Leonard Williams has become one of the key pieces of this defense, and I think he's one of the most underrated players in football. Byron Murphy, coming off his rookie campaign. Hopefully we don't see a sophomore slump, that he can continue to hold things down on the defensive line at the nose tackle position. And then Jarran Reed is next to him. Jarran Reed, kind of an afterthought at times. I like Jarran Reed, and he's been one of the nice vocal presence of this defensive line. You do have some depth concerns, but at least with your starting 3 there, you're in good shape. I think this defensive line has come a long way in a short amount of time. We talked for a number of years on this program about the issues that were plaguing the defensive line, in particular their struggles to stop the run, but they are much better than what they've been in the past there. The linebacker room for Seattle, DeMarcus Lawrence is coming aboard from the Dallas Cowboys, and if he can stay healthy, he can have a fantastic season for this Seahawks team. Tyrese Knight coming off his rookie season. He wasn't bad last year. A pleasant surprise for Seattle of what the former fourth-round pick out of UTEP was able to do. He's still got some steps forward he needs to go. Ernest Jones was brought back in free agency. He's got a brand-new contract, and he was a huge part of why the Seahawks defense had the turnaround that it did in the second half of the season. I think that he's going to continue to build upon that and be one of the main focal points of this defense for a long time. And then how about this? I'm not going with Uchenna and Wosu. I can't trust Uchenna to stay healthy. He got injured in the preseason last year. Then he got banged up again in the regular season. Boye's led this team in sacks before. He's been a very good football player, former second-round pick. I'm not saying that Uchenna's going to get hurt again, although I want to roll it out by all means. But I think when the season begins, just based on what recent history tells us, Boye's more likely to be your starter there. And I like Boye more than I do Uchenna. I have said this before, and I'll say it again. Do not sleep on Boye Mafe, folks. I think Boye could have a breakout season here in 2025. He does everything so well, not just as a pass rusher, but also as a run defender. He can cover well for his position. Boye Mafe, I think, is somebody that we need to be talking about more. Should Boye Mafe start week 1? Do you agree with your fearless leader here? You got two options here. Type Y for yes, in for no. What do you think? Should the Seahawks start Boye week 1? Y for yes, in for no. Your chance to be Mike McDonald, let us know. The corner room for Seattle, as we look at the safeties now, Devin Witherspoon is back for his third season. He's had two very good campaigns to start off his career and really holding things down at the nickel spot. He's alongside of Rick Woolen, and this is a make-or-break year for Rick Woolen. We've seen the good, we've seen the bad from Rick Woolen. We've seen him be a turnover machine, and then we've seen other times where he struggled tackling. Hopefully, Rick Woolen in this year, that's a contract year for him. He has a fantastic season. Kobe Bryant at the free safety spot, the former corner turned safety, had a really good finish to last season, and he's still learning this position, and I feel really good about what he can do going forward from here. And he's paired up with Julian Love at the strong safety spot. Love was a Pro Bowler a couple years ago. He has been very consistent and been kind of steady Eddie for this defense and really helped this secondary go a long way, especially with all the changes that we've seen with moving on from Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams and others. Julian Love has done a really good job of being a constant for that group. And I would also say don't sleep on the rookie Nick Eamon-Warry. Although we technically don't have him as a starter per se, whether he's playing a three-high safety look or they throw him at the nickelback spot, Nick Eamon-Warry is going to be heavily involved in this Seahawks defense right away. I think he'll get starter snap counts, even if he technically doesn't start games. You got to watch out for Eamon-Warry, and I think that he could be a star player in this league. Wrapping up with special teams, Jason Myers is back at the kicker position. Michael Dixon, of course, is also part of the fold as well. Dixon's been a very good punter. Chris Stoll at the linebacker, the long snapper spot. And the main thing is you have some talent there. You got some good pieces, but just don't screw up. All right? Jay Harbaugh did an awful job last year with this special teams unit. They had pieces to work with, and there was a lot of mistakes from return coverage to even blocking on field goal attempts at times. We remember what happened in that Giants game. Special teams just don't get in the way. That's all I ask. Don't screw up. Don't get in the way, and I think everything will be fine there. We got one last group to get to in a moment, but first, how would you grade the Seahawks starting lineup? A, B, C, D, or F? Get in that comment section. Tell us what you think of the starters for Seattle. Wrapping up, the return specialist, Kenny McIntosh. We'll see him on kick coverage and punt coverage. Steven Sims, one of my personal favorites, a fellow Kansas Jayhawk. I'm excited about him. He'll be involved in the kick return game with Kenny McIntosh. And then Torrey Horton, who the Seahawks drafted out of Colorado State. He's going to be involved in the punt return coverage as well. And don't sleep on Steven Sims. If the roster comes down to Steven Sims or Jake Bobo for the last wide receiver position, I would give the edge to Steven Sims because of the ability that he can do on special teams that Bobo can't. And Jake Bobo, I think, could very well hang around the practice squad or something like that. But Sims, because of the versatility, in addition to playing receiver as well as special teams, that's why I say Sims gets the nod there and is used in an effective way. If you made it to the end of today's video, that means you're a real one, a real member of the 12s. Thanks for watching. Spam 12 in the comments. We'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today.